Liam Hayes had seen his share of ugly moments in war zones, but he didn't expect to face one on a sunny Tuesday afternoon outside the bustling university library. Fresh off his construction shift, still in his dusty boots and work jacket, he was only there to return a few military history books for his night classes. Students milled around in groups, laughter floating on the crisp autumn air, but then a sharp, muffled cry cut through the chatter, freezing his steps. His gaze locked onto the scene across the quad, a tall, broad-shouldered young man cornering a girl against a brick wall, one arm planted beside her head, the other gripping her wrist so tightly her knuckles were white. Her books were scattered on the ground, pages fluttering in the breeze, and her eyes darted in panic. Something hot and sharp surged in Liam's chest. He didn't think, didn't hesitate. His voice was firm and commanding as he strode over. "Hey! Let her go." The bully turned, his lip curling in disdain. "Mind your own business, old man." Liam closed the distance, his calm expression masking the coiled readiness in his stance. "Last chance," he said evenly. The guy scoffed, but under Liam's steady gaze, he shoved the girl aside and muttered curses as he stalked away. Liam bent to gather the girl's books, glancing up to see her trembling hands clutching the strap of her bag. "You okay?" he asked gently. She nodded, voice low. "Yes, thank you." Her phone buzzed sharply, and she glanced at it, her expression tightening. "I have to go." She snatched her books from his hands, murmured another quick, "thank you," and hurried off, disappearing into the crowd before he could ask her name. Liam stood there for a moment, watching her vanish into the sea of students. Something about her stuck with him, the expensive coat draped over her shoulders, the way she avoided his eyes, the tension in her voice. He'd seen fear before, but this wasn't just fear of a bully, it felt layered, like she was carrying something heavier. He shook the thought away and headed to his truck, telling himself it was just another moment where a soldier stepped in because no one else would. But deep down, some part of him knew this wasn't the last time their paths would cross. The next morning began like any other for Liam Hayes, up before dawn to make breakfast, pack Emily's lunch, and tie her hair into the two neat braids she loved before dropping her off at school. His life was a delicate balance of parenting, work, and night classes, and he liked it that way, predictable, controlled. But that predictability shattered at lunchtime when two sleek black SUVs pulled up outside the construction site, drawing stares from the crew. 4 men in immaculate suits stepped out, scanning the workers until their eyes landed on him. One approached, his voice polite but firm. "Mr. Hayes. You're requested at Whitmore Enterprises immediately." Liam frowned, wiping sweat from his brow. "I think you've got the wrong guy." "I don't know anyone named Whitmore." The man's unblinking stare said otherwise. 20 minutes later, Liam was riding a private elevator to the top floor of the tallest building in the city. The office he stepped into felt like another world, floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the skyline, a massive desk of polished oak, and behind it, a man with silver hair and eyes that carried the weight of command. "Mr. Hayes," he said in a deep, measured tone, "yesterday you defended my daughter, Charlotte." Liam froze. "Your daughter?" The man slid a crisp security photo across the desk. "Charlotte, the same girl from the quad, looking as guarded as she had when she fled from him. She didn't tell you who she was. She prefers to live without special treatment. But you stepped in when no one else did. For that, you have my gratitude." Liam shifted in his chair. "I didn't do it for thanks. I just couldn't walk by." The CEO leaned forward, steepling his fingers. "That's precisely why I'm offering you a job, personal security for Charlotte. She's been receiving threats lately, and I trust a man like you to keep her safe." Liam's first instinct was to decline. His daughter needed him, and he wasn't looking to babysit a billionaire's child. But the memory of Charlotte's frightened eyes gnawed at him. This wasn't about money, it was about protecting someone who clearly didn't feel safe. "I'll think about it," he said, though even as he spoke, he knew the decision was already taking shape in his mind. 2 weeks later, Liam found himself in a role he'd never imagined, shadowing Charlotte Whitmore through the busy corridors of her university, blending into the background yet always scanning for danger. At first, she barely acknowledged him, her clipped greetings and guarded glances making it clear she wasn't thrilled about having a babysitter. But Liam wasn't there to win her friendship, he was there to keep her safe. Still, over time, he noticed small cracks in her walls, a polite thank you when he held open a door, a faint smile when he wordlessly handed her a coffee on a cold morning. That fragile truce was tested one rainy afternoon when they were crossing the campus parking lot. A figure stepped out from behind a van, blocking their path. It was the same bully from the library, only this time he had 2 friends with him. "Guess you think you're untouchable with your bodyguard," he sneered at Charlotte, his tone dripping with mockery. Liam positioned himself between them, his voice calm but edged with warning. "Walk away." One of the men lunged, but Liam moved faster, twisting his arm in a practiced motion that sent the attacker to his knees with a cry of pain. The others hesitated, meeting Liam's cold, unblinking stare, before deciding it wasn't worth it and backing away. Charlotte stood frozen, her breath coming fast, until Liam gently guided her to her car. "You didn't have to do that," she murmured once they were inside. "Yes, I did," he replied simply. "It's my job." She studied him for a long moment, as if seeing him differently for the first time. "You're not like the others my father hires," she said softly. "You actually care." That evening, she insisted on taking Liam and Emily to dinner as a thank you. Watching Charlotte laugh with Emily over a shared pizza, Liam saw a different side of her, one that was warm, funny, and almost carefree. For a brief moment, it didn't feel like a job at all, it felt like the 3 of them were just a small, unlikely family sharing a meal. And though Liam told himself he was only in this to protect her, he couldn't shake the feeling that his life was slowly intertwining with hers in ways he hadn't anticipated. It was just after sunset when Liam's phone buzzed, pulling him from the quiet evening at home while Emily worked on her art project at the kitchen table. Charlotte's voice came through, low and urgent, the faint tremor in it cutting straight through him. "Liam. I think someone's following me." Instantly on his feet, he told her to stay on well-lit streets and keep moving while he grabbed his keys. His truck roared to life, tearing through the city until he spotted her white sedan ahead, just as a dark car swerved and cut her off at an intersection. 2 masked men jumped out, one yanking at her door, the other brandishing a metal pipe. Liam slammed his brakes, flung open his door, and was moving before the truck even fully stopped. The first man swung the pipe, but Liam ducked, disarming him in a swift, brutal motion that sent the weapon clattering to the pavement. The second attacker tried to grab Charlotte, only to be met with Liam's shoulder driving him back into the car with a thud. The fight was over in seconds, the attackers scrambling into their vehicle and speeding away just as police sirens pierced the night. Charlotte's hands shook as Liam helped her into his truck, his voice steady despite the adrenaline. "You're safe now." Back at Whitmore Enterprises, the CEO was waiting in the marble lobby, his usually composed face pale with fear. "You didn't just protect my daughter," he said, his voice thick, "you saved her life." Charlotte stepped forward, her eyes glassy. "You also became my friend," she whispered. Liam gave a small, tired smile. "Guess it's just what soldiers, and dads, do." He turned to leave, but the CEO stopped him, his gaze unwavering. "Mr. Hayes, I want you as head of security for my daughter, with a salary and resources that will ensure your own child's future. Not just as an employee, but as someone we trust as family." Liam glanced at Charlotte, then thought of Emily asleep at home, safe because of him, and for the first time in years, he felt like his life had found a new mission. One he was ready to take on, not just for a paycheck, but because some people were worth protecting for life.